For a long time I've been interested in how the design of tracks impacts on lameness in dairy cattle. In this video I want to look at some typical tracks and see how they can be improved. Upgrading existing tracks is a daunting and expensive task. However, on many farms only a few sections need attention. It is the section closest to the shed that is the most important. This is where the cows are under the most pressure, and it is the part of the track they use every milking. Research has identified these main problem areas on a track that could cause lameness. Poor surface for the cows to walk on, a lack of adequate drainage off the tracks, concrete gravel junctions, excessive crowning of the track, the problem of dung on the track, underpasses, and shaded areas. Let's now look at each of these problems and give some practical tips on how to solve them. Where the cows walk more than a total of 4 kilometres each day, it's really important that the surface is non-damaging. The purpose of the walking surface is to shed water and to be a comfortable surface for the cows to walk on. You must have a good base underneath so that the walking surface will do its job. Make sure the walking surface will be wide enough for the number of cows. For example, a herd of 300 cows needs a track at least 6 metres wide. The base should be made of coarse material with a clay content of 15 to 30%. Then it will support the top surface without moving, wetting or breaking up. The base should be built up above the level of the surrounding ground and then compacted. A vibrating roller at a slow speed is best. Put down a maximum of 150 millimetres of the base material between each compaction. The surface layer itself must be of fine material with a clay content also of 15 to 30% and at least 50 millimetres thick. The surface layer should be crowned to a maximum of an 8% slope. The compaction of the top surface is essential to shed water. Water flowing along a track removes the fine surface material. Water pooling on a track soaks in and causes the surface to disintegrate. Good drains are essential to take water away from the track. Dig drains on the paddock side of the track fence so that the cows do not walk in them. Grass build-up along the edges of the track is good. Leave it there. It helps hold the edges of the track together. But it also prevents water draining off the track. Solve this problem by just scooping out short sections to let the water escape. Gravel underfoot on a hard concrete surface is as painful to a cow as it is to humans walking barefoot on a similar surface. Probably the most common problem area on any track is the junction of the concrete with the gravel surfaces. There's a number of reasons why this is a problem area. The first one is that if the slope is from the concrete to the gravel, water flowing down, whether it rains or whether someone's hosing down the concrete, flows onto the gravel, making this a perpetually wet area. Cows fear wet because they can't see what they're placing their feet on. So they'll dung in this area and make sure it stays wet. The second reason is gravel migrating onto the concrete. There's nothing a cow fears more than a stone on concrete. There's no give and it's painful. Solving this problem is simple and inexpensive. Putting a nib wall on the end of the concrete diverts water into the side drains and reduces the migration of rocks onto the concrete. Another solution is to spread 50 to 100 metres of a soft lime rock like this product as a transition surface before the concrete junction. The lime surface is kind to the cow's feet and absorbs any small stones that would otherwise be carried onto the concrete. Cows actually prefer the track to be level. The trouble is we need it crowned to get the water off and into the drains on the side. Cows will tolerate 8% slope on a track, that is 8 centimetres drop by 1 metre. This track that they're avoiding is in fact about double what they will tolerate, and that's why they're avoiding this edge. This edge will become worse as the fines wash down. Excessive crowning is solved by grading off the centre and relaying the top surface. The results are certainly worth it. Excessive dung on the track causes the surface to disintegrate. It is a major problem close to the shed because cows tend to dung a lot as they leave the milking shed. Coming to the shed at the next milking, the cows are upset by the wet surface and will dung some more. The only foolproof way of solving this problem is to make a separate exit that joins the main track 30 to 50 metres away from the shed. On other areas of the track where cows dung for no apparent reason, the real reason is fear. Here's an interesting bit of track. It's dry before it and it's dry at the other end. There's one section where the cows dung every time they come through here. They fear this section, that's why they dung. It's not because of the surface is reasonable, the contour's level. What we discovered was that there's stray electricity crossing this track, coming from one side from a transformer and earthing in the paddock over here. The cows can feel it and they fear it because they can sense the electricity, so they dung in response of fear. Fix the cause and the track will improve. Underpasses are likely to be problem areas. The main problem is gravel rolling down to the lowest point. The gravel could have been carried down from the approaches or have fallen down from the sides of the cutting. To solve this problem, the track surface should be concrete from the approaches and right through the underpass. A nib wall should be constructed at each end of the concrete to keep gravel from migrating onto it. Drains should be constructed along either side of the concrete. Gravel from the banks could be stopped from rolling onto the concrete surface with sandbags along each side of the track or by concreting the banks. Shaded areas are always a problem because they stay wet longer. The drying effect of both the sun and the wind is reduced. The continually wet track disintegrates more quickly. Hedges and vegetation growing along the edge of the track make side drains hard to construct and hard to maintain. Solve this problem by removing hedges and trees causing problems, but particularly those shading the track nearer the shed. I've consulted with many farmers about their lameness problems. For most, improving the track was at least part of the solution. On this farm, many of the track problems I've discussed were present. By following the advice I've given in this video, this farmer's lameness problem all but disappeared. And here's the final result. A track wide enough, the surface is a good surface for the cows to walk on, it's crowned so the water gets to the edges of the race and drains to take it away. And the cows love it.